to the Bookbibuli podcast, and welcome to the last episode of the series Accepto Exceptions. In the earlier books, we have met aliens, we've met humans, we've met normal humans, we've met crossdresser humans, and in this last book, we are going to meet a pair of brothers, one absolutely normal, the other with a little disability, which is accepted. So, Omar and his younger brother Hassan have spent most of their lives in Dadaab, a refugee camp in Kenya. Life is hard there, never enough food, achingly dull, and without access to the medical care Omar knows his non-verbal brother needs. So, when Omar has the opportunity to go to school, he knows it might be a chance to change their future. But it would also mean leaving his brother, the only family member he has left. Heartbreak, hope, and gentle humor exist together in this graphic novel about a childhood spent waiting, and a young man who's able to create a sense of family and home in the most difficult of settings. It's an intimate, important, unforgettable look at the day to day life of a refugee, as told to New York Times by Omar Muhammad, the Somali man who lived to tell the story. And we have Aanvi with us today, who's going to be talking about it. Hello, Aanvi.
Hi, I'm Aanvi Mehra and I'm 12 years old. I'm in 7th grade and I love to read. I'm also from India. I'm so glad to be here on this podcast. It's honestly been one of my dreams for so long to do something like this. Here's a little more of what I like to do. My two favorite things to do are reading and singing. Reading and singing are my passions. I read and sing anytime, anywhere. I mean, nothing can beat those two for me. That's why I'm glad to be here. What's better than a podcast about books?
I totally second you on that. Let's talk about the central themes of this book and how were these themes explored through the characters' experiences.
The story's main theme. Well, there isn't just one main theme. I feel like that there are three. Survival. It's not easy to live Omar's life in a refugee camp. When I read the book for the first time, I was like, 15 years? Gosh, how is he still alive? Freedom. Omar longed for freedom for as long as he could remember. And last but not least, faith. Omar lived on faith and hope and nothing else. He had faith that he would go to America and be happy.
Faith and hope, those two beacons of light, they shine in Omar. How would you say that Omar's character evolves throughout the story? And what key events influence his development?
Omar really changes throughout the book. For example, he first wants to be, I don't really know how to put this. He wants to grow up to help more people like his brother Hassan. Then, when Omar realizes that the United Nations doesn't really do anything to help, as much as they try, he wants to become a United Nations worker to change these things and make the world a better place. Omar's character evolves from a boy who's overwhelmed by the hardships of a refugee life to a young man who takes on responsibilities and pursues his dreams. These are experiences that shape his determination to create a better future for himself and Hassan.
Now let us talk about Hassan, his role in the story. Care to tell us how does his disability affect his interactions with others and his beautiful relationship with Omar?
Hassan, Omar's younger brother, has a developmental disability that significantly impacts his interactions with others. His disability makes him dependent on Omar, which strengthens their bond but also adds to Omar's responsibilities. Despite the challenges, Hassan's joyful spirit and resilience are a source of inspiration and motivation for Omar. The story portrays unconditional love between the brothers and the unique way they support each other.
Well, Anvi, we haven't interacted much until now, but we hope you've been having a good time with the North Star program of Bookbibuli.
The North Star reading program is designed to excite book lovers of all ages. It features a fun podcast with author interviews, book reviews, and discussions on various topics, making listening enjoyable and informative. The program also hosts events like live readings, workshops, and meet and greet sessions with authors, helping readers connect and share their love for books. Additionally, the blog offers interesting articles, guest posts, and book recommendations, providing plenty of great content for readers to explore. Though it's a podcast, though through its podcast, events, and blogs, literary adventures helps people enjoy and appreciate books even more.
Yes, that's the whole idea, to help people enjoy and appreciate books. And it's amazing the kind of books that we have, especially in graphic, Mouse, Persepolis, and the current book that we're talking about. It seems that the graphic novel format affects the way the story is told and is received by readers more positively. Do you believe so?
I think that the graphic novel format helps readers visualize what actually happens in the story. It also helps people who can't read to look at the pictures and understand the book. Format of the story makes the story accessible and engaging, especially for younger readers, and helps convey the complex emotions and experiences in a more impactful way. Though it would also be better if there was a chapter book version so that readers could have more choice.
Tell us, did you learn something from reading When Stars Are Scattered? Something that you didn't know before?
Let me change this a little bit. I learned a lot about refugees by the time I was 7 years old. So I didn't learn anything. I simply found this book by surfing through my school's graphic novel collection. I picked the book up and read it. I enjoyed the book to the maximum. Still reading When the Stars Are Scattered will provide readers with a deeper understanding of the daily struggles and resilience of refugees living in camps. The personal perspective shared by Omar Muhammad, who lived these experiences, offers an authentic and poignant insight to the challenges faced by the refugees.
Let me also reword this question. How did this book change your perspective on the refugee experience?
This book is beautiful. However, it didn't change my thoughts or reflection on the refugee experience. Like I said earlier, this book will broaden the reader's perspective on refugee experience by humanizing the statistics and news reports. It has shown me the individual stories behind the broader issue, emphasizing the resilience, hopes, and dreams of refugees. It has also highlighted the critical role of compassion, education, and advocacy in supporting displaced individuals.
And now for my last question. Would you recommend this book to your friends? And if yes, then why?
This is a wonderful book. Whether or not you want to learn about refugees, I guarantee that everyone will enjoy this book. The old, the young, and everyone in the middle.
Thank you very much for being with us today. It was wonderful having you over.
Bookbibuli, I thank you so much for this experience, and I'm delighted to have come here. Keep doing this. I also hope that the listeners to this podcast get inspired by this episode. Remember to subscribe to the podcast. Thank you once again, Bookbibuli.
The story follows Omar, now living in Arizona, as he reflects on the 15 years he and his disabled brother spent in a refugee camp for Somali families displaced by the civil wars of the 1990s. After their farm was destroyed, their father was killed, and their mother's fate remained unknown. The two boys were left to fend for themselves in the UN sponsored camp, living in a hut. and cared for by a woman who took them in. Omar is fortunate to be selected for school. He shares his perspective of growing up in the camp and his experiences as a Muslim boy amid cultural and religious divisions between girls and boys. And now it's time for Bookbibuli Read Record. The narrative describes the constant hunger, extreme heat, and the rare strokes of good fortune that marked life in the camp. Although escaping after 15 years might not seem like good luck, given that most remain in such camps indefinitely, Omar considers himself relatively fortunate. It is perfectly crafted for middle schoolers, ages 9 to 12, providing a very nuanced view into lives vastly different from their own. The book cultivates empathy, broadens understanding, and motivates readers to persistently pursue their dreams. The story serves as a poignant reminder of the ongoing refugee crisis around the world. It underscores the importance of compassion and the need to support those in need, rather than isolating ourselves. While the scope of our abilities to help may be limited, neglecting to care for others diminishes our humanity and integrity. The books leading to this book are Crossover, Alone, and Whitebird, and the book that's a natural successor is Refugee by Alan Gratz. Until next week, better read, read better.